So it is Monday morning, and I changed my rules. I made up some kind of rules yesterday, now rules, guides for myself, what I wanted to do about my webpage, waiting until Friday. But after posting my sort of test last night, I feel like what I want to do this week is just start getting acclimated to the different way I need to do my my journaling, this journaling that I'm doing, with the intention of putting it out there. So I've been having conversations basically with myself, which I still am, but I want to start practicing getting out there. How I would be putting stuff out, etc. Anyway, and so I just want to talk a little bit about about my practice this morning. So I have been over the last 5 weeks maybe now. I don't know. It's been a while. I have been doing morning practice that I have been getting up at I wake up between usually around 4:30. It started at 4:30 every day. I just would wake up and I felt energy and I felt motivation to actually do this violet flame work that I've been doing. And I hadn't done it for years, and I just got this urge to do it after a really deep healing that I had, a personal healing. And so after that, once I started getting up, because it felt like, I know that's supposed to be a really good time to do spiritual work, and I felt like I seemed to be being encouraged to get going. And so I take that as a message, and I followed it. And after doing it for a few days, I started getting in the swing of it. Sometimes I wake up 3-ish and I try to go back to sleep. Sometimes I stay awake. I don't always get up and do my practice right then. But when I do my practice, it's been an evolving thing, what I do, but it's generally been at least an hour consistently. And one of the things I love about it is I didn't set out a goal. I am going to do a morning meditation and prayer practice that's going to be, I'm going to spend an hour every day and I'm going to get up at this time. It wasn't like that at all. What I love about it is that it unfolded. This is how I like to live my life. It unfolded in front of me, and I followed it. And which that makes me think of the breadcrumb. Like, I keep thinking of this kind of analogy of breadcrumbs, that when we're looking to follow a path of awareness or awakening, spirit, God, however you want to phrase it. We have no map. There was no map that was given to us. We didn't come to this life experience with an instruction manual. And so in order to find our way, we're following breadcrumbs. Like in the stories when you want to find your way back home, and so you leave breadcrumbs. And I feel like this is something that I often do. I look for the breadcrumbs, and then when I find them, I just keep following them. So this morning practice started like that. It has evolved into something really profound for me and really powerful. A lot of transformation, and a lot of revelations about what I'm here to do, what I'm going to do for my journey, for the next leg of my journey. And so this morning, and I don't always, I usually wake up before my alarm, but not every day. And sometimes I do have an alarm set, and I would say out of these 5 weeks or so, I've probably had to use an alarm maybe like 4 times, 5 times max. So that says something. But this morning, I didn't wake up as early. Last night, I was up kind of late doing the getting some work done on my website, and getting a video out there just to get one out, just like this one. And so I woke up later than usual. And normally, have been a couple of times when I've slept in and decided, okay, I'm going to do my meditation later in the morning. Today was not one of them. Today it just happened. And so I thought, well, I'm going to have to do a shorter one because I have to go to work today, and I have a lot of things I want to accomplish this morning. And I tried to shorten it, and it wouldn't shorten. Because one of the things that I start out with, it wasn't in the very beginning, but within about a week or so, I started adding this prayer part in. And in this prayer part of my meditation, I literally, like, I don't pray the way some people would consider praying. Because I'm working with Violet Flame, and the I Am teachings. Instead, what I do is I just like proclaim that that the universe shower people that I specify with light, with various different things. Shower them with courage. You know, I try not to attempt to ask the universe or God to do specific things for people, like heal this and do that. I just want to shower them with radiant good things. And in the process, I address this. It's you know, all different people, my children, my grandchildren, you know, my siblings, my friends, all different friends from different walks of my life. And I hold them in my mind, and I envision sending them love, and it has become like one of my favorite parts of my practice. It seems funny to me because, you know, I mean, in the greater scheme of things, I don't even know how effective that is, right? I'm just following my breadcrumbs, and I'm doing what my heart tells me to do. And my joy at showering love and light and courage and strength and wisdom on my people, it's so satisfying. It's really soul satisfying. And I feel as though, even though it's just me and they aren't present with me in that moment, they kind of are, because I'm holding my attention on them, and it feels as though I'm spending time with them, quality time. And so this morning I thought, okay, I'm gonna just have to bunch this up. Like, I can't just not do it, because part of my thing, what I'm really working at, the Violet Flame part, which is where I'm going to be releasing things that I want to release from my system, and things that I want to call in and bring in, strong things. So this morning I was going to just do a truncated version of my prayerful part. And I started it out that way a little bit, but it did not go as planned. I couldn't help it. The next thing I know, I'm like bringing people in individually, because some of it is people that I know that are struggling. I can't not address it. And so, like a lot of other things I do, I just like I just let it go. I was having such a good time, which my morning practice often is. Sometimes I'm laughing and sometimes I'm crying. I mean, it's the most beautiful, full thing I can imagine. I wake up excited to do it. I've never had a morning routine like I love yoga. I've loved getting up and doing exercise in the morning when I'm in an exercise mode, which I haven't been in a long time. I'd rather just dance. But a lot of times it's a struggle. It's like something that you have to make yourself do. And this practice for me has been effortless. It's been absolutely effortless. And yeah, and soul satisfying. And part of the reason I've been wanting to do these more regular blogs is to track what happens. And I've been doing audio blogs a lot. I have so many audio blogs. I call them blogs. It's not really a blog, it's audio journals that I do a lot of times when I'm driving. And I've been doing that for a couple of years or so. And not every day. But it's a way to track my progress, but also sometimes to capture things that I want to remember for the future. When I start doing major shifts in my life, like at the time when I started eating more like an Ayurvedic kapha reducing diet, I started doing the video blogs because I wanted to kind of see my energy. Does my energy change? How does my energy look, and kind of track it. And so now that I'm doing this practice, I've been wanting to kind of track that again. Do it occasionally visually so that I can see how I look and how I sound, and you can't get that out of the audio or the written. I've been writing as well. So as I go forward, I want to do a combination of those three things: writing, audio, and video. But they each have different reasons, different motivators. So I may go back on some of my older ones and put them out on my website or on my YouTube at some point, because I feel like there is a difference. It's a little bit hard to track sometimes, even in those videos, because sometimes I look and I think, because I've overcome in my healing, in this watershed healing I had back in the I think it was December 2nd. So I guess it's 5 weeks, December 2nd or 3rd. Anyway, it was a watershed healing for me. And so I actually, since that time, I have a completely different relationship with myself, with my body, with my essence. And I feel much lighter and brighter about it. And I have spent so many years so critical of myself, and so I could look at myself. If I look at myself right now in here, I'm like, don't look, Linda, I'm telling myself, because I don't want to get caught up in that. But for most of my adult life, it would be more like I would look at myself and it would be, like I would feel disgust. I would feel so critical and so displeased, like it mattered, and I sucked. The best I could hope for is if I got dressed up and put on makeup, and I would feel good about the way I look, because I'm an artist. I would try to artist myself into my presence. It's the best I could do, and then I would forget about it throughout the day. I really didn't think that much about it, and if I did, it was rather unpleasant thoughts. So I'm not really in that space now. It feels long term. It feels like this is a different way of being. I'm hopeful of that, and I think that that's the case, but only time will tell. And meanwhile, as I'm doing the practice, I feel like I want to monitor my energy. Today, it was fun because I realized how important that the prayerful part is for me. I want to just say it's also part of what I recognize is just parts of who I am as I'm learning, as I'm accepting and learning more about like the actual Linda that just is, that regardless of externals, regardless of experiences that I have or interactions I have, like there's this core of who I am that, I've always made a concerted effort to know myself. And over the years, I get closer and closer to it. And in some ways, I feel like I'm in another wave of that right now, and it's one that feels really buoyant. And as I worked on my website last night, and getting the video out there, I felt really electrified by the fact that I'm in this current, and my morning practice is part of what's bringing me into not really an urgency, but a directive to get to work on my soul work, and that is my art, my writing, my sharing my stories, and ways that I want to try to offer services to people. And so this morning, as I'm thinking, yeah, I felt like, yeah, I have to battle things a lot. Like I have to battle how much personal stuff do I want to put out there, because, once I put stuff on Facebook and YouTube and all that, especially YouTube, it's out there for the world. You I have to really look at my sense of boundaries and protection if I need that, which I really don't like to think that way. So I try not to put that in my consciousness. But there is a certain vulnerability in putting yourself really personally out there, like to be completely known. And yet another voice in me is always saying, that's old mind. That's an old way of thinking. I can't, to do the work that I want to do in the world, I have to drop that. And so after I did my practice this morning, I drew a code deck card, which I do occasionally, and I don't have time to really talk about the code deck cards right now. But what was so cool, first of all, as I was shuffling them and moving them, I kept seeing this like pink, this like red pink. It was really pink color card, and then sometimes when that happens, that's the card I'm gonna pull. And I don't think that happened today because it wasn't the same shape on it, but it was this bright pink, and it was the first card in its source, and then when I read it, it was exactly what I just talked about, which is something that I had thought of in my meditation this morning. Like, how much do I want to put out there? And this card, I wish I had time to read it, but it was basically saying, it's time for you to just drop all of that and just put it out there. Like, don't be attached to that. Anyway, I love that kind of confirmation. It just makes everything more enjoyable, more fun, because I think this journey really should be fun. So anyway, so it is, so that's where I'm starting out my day. And tonight I have high hopes that when I get home from work, I will do some more work on my webpage or work some more on my music, because the other thing that I've been doing is, like, the day before yesterday, I decided I am going to learn music. Because I keep getting these indications that I should be, these intuitive senses that I need to be doing more. And I started, actually, I want to say a week or so ago, I actually started writing a song, and I realized it's really hard to do when you can't read or write music. Well, I can do it anyway, but it's slower and harder. And so I thought I really should at least know the basics, so that when I'm playing keys on the piano, I know what keys I'm playing. And I came across this app, and this app is super cool, and it also helps you. You do these like drills, like workshops, kind of on different notes and on singing them, which is also part of what I've always wanted to do. Like, I love to sing. I can kind of sing, but I've never done anything to like hone my voice. And those are things that I'm being called towards. So maybe I'll do some of that tonight too. I don't know. So it's kind of interesting to, and I have to be able to weave in and out of that, because while there's some part of me that says, you've got to pick a thing and focus on it and get it, do one thing at a time. And that works for a lot of people. I don't think that's my path. I don't think that's right for me personally. And for me, it's more like I have to rein in my multitude of interests. So I can't do just one. I do have to limit them, and I have a tendency to have too many. So I'm thinking maybe I need to try to keep it trimmed down to just a few. And for right now, it's getting my website ready, getting these video, audio, and writing, journaling out there, working on learning music and writing music, and there was one more. Anyway, that's enough. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and wish me luck. Happy Monday.